good to see you. We missed you here in Provincetown after your very successful run converting us all to Catholicism or something anyway, as Sister Mary. But you're back in the UK, and now we're talking today because you're about to put Middlesbrough on the map. Maybe we should pause for people who live in a funny country and never heard of Middlesbrough anyway. But you've got a brand new play opening next Tuesday. Please, Tim, tell me what it's about.
So, Small Town Boys is based on a true story. So, as you know, I spent the lovely summer in Provincetown doing Sister Mary, my tap dancing musical comedy, Flat Baking Nun. And the year before, we played the iconic Ice Palace on Fire Island. Now, Fire Island, I'm sure lots of people have been, is a very magical,
Yep.
quite mysterious place. And obviously, it's got a rich history in the gay community. It's where people went to feel comfortable with their sexuality in the early 1920s and 50s, and it was a safe haven for gays and lesbians. So we did the show last year at the Ice Palace. It went very well. Came off stage, some mates up from New York. We sort of danced. We were gay. We took our tops off. We enjoyed the Ice Palace,
Oh,
venue, which I've never done before in a bar in my life. Took my top off because got my hairy man boobs out, which was all very lovely for some, not for others. And we got talking to this English guy, and the four of us just hung out for the rest of the evening. The end of the night, they played Donna Summer's Last Dance.
mhm.
And I turned around to this guy and said, I really want to go to the beach and look at the moon. I just want to see the moon on the sea because, being in London, living in London, we don't have a seaside. Anyway, we strolled down to the beach and the moon was mesmerizing. And it was so silver and its rays were glistening and rippling on the sea. It was like being in a movie set.
Mhm.
Anyway, we got talking and we basically just started talking about what it's like to be, this guy just turned 50, I'm approaching 50. We just started talking about life and how much your perspectives and your opinions and your decisions change as you get older, especially being a gay man, and what you expect from relationships, different relationships we'd had. And we just sort of had this really great connection about life and being gay and being a mature gay man. And then we discovered that we were both from the northeast of England. He was from Middlesbrough and I was from Gisborough. Then we chatted about being on the gay scene in Middlesbrough and who we knew, like the two Keiths who were hairdressers, Paul who worked in the chemist boots that my mum used to call puffing boots. And then we discovered that we both dated the same guy. Then we discovered we both dated that particular guy at the same time.
Well, I'd say sluts, but I'm recording this.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But because, for me, it was my first proper gay relationship where it was like, it wasn't just a fling, it actually became a
Yeah.
relationship. And for the other guy, it was the same for him. And he'd been with him 6 to 7 months previously to when I was.
Mhm.
So we were absolutely amazed. So then the next day, I went back to the New York City and then I met him for brunch and I just said to him, I think this is a really interesting story, and it's a fascinating story to think like 30 years later,
Yeah.
you go to somewhere magical, you meet a random stranger at the Ice Palace, and then you both discover this secret that, you know, was both of your first loves. And, since that first relationship for both of us as the years went by, that relationship affected a lot of our other relationships and what
Yeah.
we wanted from a relationship. I mean, at that time, we didn't know that he was seeing both of us at the same time. Otherwise, if we did, we'd probably spent a hell of a lot of money on therapy. Um, and that's basically what the story is. So the first like 30 pages about these two guys who just meet and they discuss
Mhm.
all these things that life throws at us as gay men. And then we go into a series of flashbacks where the audience see both their relationship with this younger guy.
So
And that's Small Town
before we go
Boys.
to the play, how did we find him again in real life?
No, I have had various bits and bobs of communication over the years, but then it sort
Okay.
of disappears.
You're not curious?
Um, well, I mean, I sort of know where they are, but I think also, because of the recent, court case with Baby Reindeer, we've had to be we've had to be very careful and say like this is based on a true story. So within the story, there there might be some elements that are based on real events, but there's also some possible real events. There's also maybe twisted, and then there's also some complete fantasy. So I'm going to let the audience decide what they think is real.
So I want the truth here. You were involved in the casting. So did you choose a really good-looking boy to play you?
I choose. It was interesting in the casting because the first 30 pages of the play are so important that I decided to cast those two actors in their 50s. And they're
Mhm.
both handsome boys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I just think there is something about life and experience talking about things as a gay man that you can only really understand, I think, until you get to a certain age. And especially in that time and everything, the guy who's playing the character of Jason is a very new, very handsome, very talented, very has a natural instinct with his choices in the
Yeah.
rehearsal room. And the other two actors, Nathan Taylor and Stuart Simons, are both very, very experienced actors. As a director and a writer, I feel that they're in really good hands to tell the story.
So
Yeah,
the north of England, explain it to people what it's those people who don't know about the north, what it's like.
yeah. So it's really so Gisborne is right on the top of the North Yorkshire Moors, and the North Yorkshire Moors is a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. And there's elements of Gisborne. It's a very small town. It's very, I mean, since the past 10 years, it has got big. There's new housing estates, and what was farmland has now been built on. And it was very much a village. It has a little high street. It has a
Mhm.
ruined priory that was knocked out, burnt down in 1354, that the remains still stand, which is a beautiful part of the town. Um, and generally, the people are very nice, but there's a very low tolerance level there for anybody who's slightly different. And recently, I mean, when I was in the States working, I heard about the riots that were happening in England from the the far right parties, and there was quite a lot of rioting in Middlesbrough, and
Really?
it was really, really horrific, where the point is people were stopping people's cars on the color of their skin. That is really scary for that area. And I should also say there are some really lovely people that live in that area as well. Not everybody is the same, but it is sort of there's a culture there for very, single-mindedness, really.
And
It is.
I would like the other people to learn about the other parts of England that are not touristy and how we grew up as gay kids because we have only been legal for 40, 50 years now. And that's quite a short history in the certain things, isn't it?
And because that I was in this situation, the school were not allowed to help me in
Mhm.
any way, shape, or form.
So,
And they sent me to a child psychotherapist because that was the only way they could deal with it because they were not allowed to handle it because the threat was they could get sacked actually. And many years later, when I'd been living in London for like, I don't know, 8 years or something, I went back and my mum's neighbour, this girl, was appearing in a school production at Lawrence Jackson, which I went to see. And three of the teachers apologized to me about their behaviour, including my English teacher, who said to me, we all wanted to help you. Said, I'm a gay man and we could do nothing. Those of us who were sympathetic, we couldn't do anything because we'd lose our jobs.
mhm. And sadly, the world is a very similar place because only this week we heard that in the UK, you're copying DeSantis's ideas in Florida and are burning gay or textbooks, which is so horrendous. And I don't want to finish the bad note. Go and see Small Town Boy
Yeah,
and make sure if it's a big enough success, you'll be here in it next year with us Small Town Boys.
I hope so. And that we have got, it's really interesting actually. There's quite a lot of interest in the story because I think at the end of the day, it is a beautiful story. And regardless of, the guy sort of both two timers at the same point, one thing that I'm really insistent on there was a reason why we both fell for this boy, because he was funny, because he was sexy, because he was beautiful, because he made us feel comfortable. So even though, you know, the subject matter is, oh, he's a horrible two-timer, he was also very lovely and he was full of love for both of us. Do you know what I mean? And maybe he was a little bit lost. So it's you know, there it, I don't want him to appear the baddie. I think it's circumstance, and I think it's just he just gets swallowed up into this, you know, double life, really.
Good. I need to finish on that because in my life, I was him.
Wow. Wow.
And
You
that's
dark
it.
horse.
Good to speak to you. Great success with the play.